Calling all angels. The second week of needing to call all the angels. I think, first of all, I want to, thank you.
I love that song.
Can't tell you how much I don't want to be standing up. And of course, I want to be standing up here right now. But last night it was like, I can't stand up there and be who I think they want me to be. Whatever that is. I have refused, and Kelly said the same thing before the service started, is I've refused to turn away from the devastation caused by Hurricane Helene. I know I'm supposed to be a positive, upbeat, metaphysical unity minister. Everything is dandy, yay, yay, yay. Well, a whole lot of things are. A lot of things are quite wonderful, and a lot of things are not. And so I stand here before you just going to share with you the best that I can. And the last part of my talk will be the talk that I do at Celebration of Life services in honor of all the lives lost, caused by this storm, caused by the Middle East, and anywhere else. Kelly shared with me that she attended virtually a funeral service of a dear friend in Indianapolis yesterday, which did not make singing this song any better. And I lost my grandkitty a couple days ago. My kids had to put her to sleep. I know, it's a cat, right? No, it's a cat.
It's a family member.
So, enough of that, or on with that, I guess I should say. Breathe. One thing I know absolutely for sure is that our hearts are the heart of God. We are absolutely one with everything that is. It's the only thing that makes sense. It's the only thing to me that makes sense. One presence, one power. No matter where we are, what we're doing, when we're born, and when we exit from our physical bodies, our spirits stay the same. One with the presence of God. For that, I feel that I can depend on, and I hope that you can depend on that too. And this had come to me to talk about. It's a Bible verse that has always given me strength from 2 Timothy. For God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind. Regardless of any fear, regardless of any turmoil, in that oneness, we are still a spirit of power and love and of sound mind when we choose to be of sound mind. Sometimes we walk away from that. But being of sound mind has to do with our choices and our level of willingness to breathe and to show up, not only for ourselves and for others, and to be able to hold that space of love, even in the midst of difficulty and right out annoyance as well. I just want people to stop lying. I have to say that out loud. And to stay in integrity. I don't care who it is, just stop. Find your integrity. I don't care who it is. It's me in any given moment. It's you in any given moment. But that is what is being of a sound mind, when we can live from a place of integrity and authenticity and love, and have our first choice be to love one another. This was going to be my last slide, but I'll leave that up there. So I want to share with you two things. The first reading that I want to share with you is Reverend Darlene Strickland, who's the minister of Unity of Blue Ridge in Mills River, North Carolina, outside of Asheville. I haven't seen, she's been posting every day since the storm hit. You can follow her at Unity of Blue Ridge. As of 2 days ago, I haven't seen her post an update on this particular piece, but 2 days ago she posted that as of that time, they had only heard from 25 to 30% of their congregation. Now they know that many people evacuated, but after several days, not everybody had gotten in touch yet, and they had not been able to get in touch with them. But I did watch their live stream this morning, and they had a pretty good, they had got power back, so they were able to have service. But this is what she wrote on day 8. It is day 8 without electricity at my home. Thankfully, power has been restored at the church. We have individuals coming this morning with chainsaws and equipment to help us remove trees from the parking lot. They had structural damage, but it was not devastating. I am tired today, but I am also very in touch with an inner peace and presence that surges inside of me and can move me to tears and joy. Yesterday was a day that I hope I never forget. I witnessed a sacred vulnerability that is perhaps the greatest form of prayer, communion, and healing. I spent several hours as an on-site chaplain for a makeshift hospital. Many of these patients still require oxygen, yet have nowhere to go. Doctors and nurses from Raleigh were there. As I visited with individuals, I could feel a sacred presence entering the space between us, simply through the act of their open-hearted sharing. What began as a simple conversation became a vessel for healing. The power of God, already alive within them, became more visible, more palpable, as they gave themselves permission to speak openly about their lives, to be seen and to be heard. Perhaps without even intending to, they touched on truths that they could only come to light through honesty and vulnerability. They had lost their homes, their sense of safety, and for some, even their will to move forward. One man in particular hadn't eaten in 2 days, overwhelmed by the weight of it all. At first, there was no need for prayer. We simply talked. As they began to tell their stories of fear, grief, bygone days, past experiences, and present uncertainty, I saw how much they had been carrying in silence. The act of speaking, of telling their truth, created an opening. For many, this opening brought tears. They hadn't expected to cry, But in releasing their words, they also released their spirit. After an extended conversation, the man who hadn't eaten in 2 days accepted food. It was a sign of life stirring within him again. In the act of conversation, he reconnected with something deeper, something sacred. The light of God, ever present, had begun to shine through the cracks of his sorrow and loss, bringing with it a spark of light. This is the power of opening up from a place of empty. We make space for God's presence to move in and through us. We may not be seeking God, but in the vulnerability of our heart, we find that the divine is already there, as peace, as love, as strength, as connection, and as healing. I don't know what today holds. Lord knows I do pray that I get electricity restored, but I can tell you this: it is truly possible for your soul to be completely satisfied in the midst of loss and longing. I'm going back to be a chaplain for a few hours today. Today we shall sing. And then there is Heather Golden. Heather and her husband, Paul. I think they live in Asheville. They've been recording from Black Mountain, which is where Paul grew up. I was going to show, you can find them on Facebook. Just do a search on Heather Golden. They left their home. It sounds like from the videos, that Paul works at a hotel. They evacuated to the hotel on the 7th floor. Their room just happened to be their room in the hotel, and the whole hotel had 200 to 300 people in it. They were on the 7th floor. Their room had 1 bar of service. It was the only cell service in the whole hotel. And you had to be at a certain place in the room in order to be able to get that 1 bar of service. And Heather and Paul already knew that. She saw in the lobby a man by himself in tears. And she asked him if she could be of service. And she talks in this video about she was born with the gene to serve, with the purpose to serve. She has always known that, to be able to show up and be there for others. And he said that he was there alone. He had not been able to reach out to his family to let them know that he was okay. She got the phone number of the first people, whoever it was that he wanted to contact. She went up to the 7th floor to her room, and she texted his family to let them know that he was okay. And that was the beginning. For 48 hours, she texted 466 text messages, reuniting over 200 families. She didn't sleep. She herself is recovering from surgery, she said, and just laughed. Up and down the steps, sometimes being able to take the elevator, sometimes not. Reuniting over 200 families. And then yesterday she posted this. Yesterday, Chrissy and I located a young girl. Anybody else see this out there? Yesterday, Chrissy and I located a young girl and a 6-day-old baby in Lake Lure. So this was just yesterday. So this baby was born during the storm, who had just given birth during the storm alone. And I believe from what she said here that an elderly gentleman. She's after connecting all these people. The other thing they talk about, they call themselves, I don't have it here, United Citizens of Appalachia.
Mm-hmm.
She said, FEMA's here, but they're not here. FEMA's over here doing this, this, and this, but they're not up here because they're busy. And we're here. And we're doing it ourselves. We're taking care of ourselves. She goes, I don't want to take anything away from FEMA. I don't want to take anything away from the government. But we have to do it ourselves. And they're calling themselves the United Citizens of Appalachia. So she's been running water. No water. The only thing people have to bathe with are wipes. So she's been doing runs back and forth up into the mountain from Silverado, which is a huge music venue in western North Carolina. And they're getting supplies coming in, and then they have to take them up to the people. So she said an old man who waved at us with his dog, who also needed dog food, which I happen to have. And apparently he pointed this young woman out to her. Heather goes on to say, we were her first contact. Before I left for our run, my car was water and med kits that day. I saw there was extra room in the car. I could have loaded anything, but for some reason, I chose to load it down with baby supplies, diapers, wipes, formula, bottles, etc. I had no idea I was actually going to need that stuff in real time. I just felt like I needed to load it in there, so I did. And we found the one person who needed it urgently because she had one pre-made bottle left. That can't begin to describe. She goes, I can't begin to describe what that was like. I knew I was the only one that knew exactly where she was or how to get to her. So today, the next day, my mission was to take more supplies to her, but in reality, to convince her to come with me. It took some time. She was scared. The mud was knee or waist deep around her house. I told her that yes, it was deep, but we would make it, and to just trust me. Just give me the baby. So I held baby E and strapped my backpack tight, pulled straps tight so Mama could hold on to me, to my back, and told Mama to hold on and just keep going. If we got stuck, we could get out, and we did. As we speak, NH and baby E have been extracted. I took them to a church relatively close to her to receive medical care and be reunited with her loved ones. I'm still trying to process it. Her boyfriend is still missing. It's going to take me a minute. Like, I'm okay, I'm safe, but I'm definitely traumatized. But they're okay, they're alive, they're safe, and that's all that matters. Good luck, you two. I'll always remember you. And then she goes on to say, I had to do this today. We are having to do it, all of this by ourselves as a community because we have no one else. It's just us. And hey, maybe it's for the best. We're actually getting pretty good at this. I messed up my radiator trying to get to her, but used some water to keep filling and cooling it down. And as soon as I got back, some awesome guys started working on it and got it fixed so I could get back. And she says, please know I didn't write this for any kind of praise or glory. I just honestly figured it would get hidden. I just know that our community is hurting deeply. And there are stories after stories after stories like this. And like I said, I don't want to take my eyes off of it. Now I have to do what I need to do to take care of me. But I don't want to turn away. I'm not saying that you do whatever it is you need to do. I'm just sharing with you that I refuse to turn away and forget about what's going on. This was apocalyptic. I'm not even going to share with you some of the other stories that I have read and heard about the number of deaths that aren't being recorded because there's just simply no way to record it yet. Because it's all so big. Oh. And Heather and her husband Paul said on the video that I watched, it's the little things. He picked up a peach. He said, it's this fuzzy, soft peach that I'm going to eat in just a second. It's the little things. The person that walks by, Heather said, and gives me a piece of chocolate. The kindnesses, the support, the laughter that they're still able to feel and to find. God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and of a sound mind. And from a spiritual teacher who's goes by a soul called Joel, may you temper your worry with song, temper the shadow of doubt with light. May you stand in the radiance of compassion, grace, and joy. We call upon the angels, and there are many new ones. Calling all angels. So if you would be just with me, I want to read this in honor of those who have passed. We're here to celebrate the life of all of those whose lives were lost in Hurricane Helene, and to reaffirm our life, our faith, and life eternal as we bless these loved ones into their next experience of living. They are not limited, they are free, living souls ever in God's care. They may not be in physical bodies, but they live on. We acknowledge the presence and power of God with us today as we gather in memory of these loved ones. We are grateful that God's Spirit is moving through all who are gathered here, for God is the only activity there is. And we feel this activity of God as the love that sustains us, the peace that comforts us, the power that strengthens us, and the wisdom that enables us to know that life is eternal. And that each one of us and every one of them, we are ever one with God. The eternal God is our dwelling place, and underneath are the everlasting arms. And we feel the presence and warmth of the love of God. In the consciousness of our oneness with God, we feel a sense of closeness. We see them enfolded in God's love, and we know that God's light illumines their path. May each person be comforted knowing that the love and light of God is present in every moment, enfolding every soul. Death is but a passing. Death is but a part of life. Each person who lives will die. Death is a transformation of living. When one dies, the body is laid to rest, but the soul lives on. Death is simply the separation of the soul from a body. Those who love, each and every one of them grieve. I read this today in honor of those who have passed, but also for all of those who have loved, each and every one of them. Grieving is a part of life, a part of the death process for those of us left behind. Allow yourselves to feel the grief, for it is in the grieving that we are healed. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. And so we speak these words today for all people who are living out their life in some kind of a divine order that we cannot understand. But we take time to say thank you. For many of these people may never be found. And yet, we shall remember them. Remember them in your walks through the mountains, through the trees, by the rivers, by the lakes. Remember them when you hear a baby laugh. Remember them in your sadness as well as in your joys. For God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. And so it is.